everybody! So it has been a while since I posted another video, but I'm back and today I'm going to be doing a DIY video on how to make wall flags actually. This is one that I made a while ago and I've had hanging in my room, and today I'm going to show you a couple different ways to make them. They're super duper easy and cheap to make. And I just really enjoy crafting, and if there's something that I like that I think I can make cheaper than I can buy, I will probably do that. Let's get into it. A wooden dowel. I recommend getting one of the thinner ones. You can go a little thicker depending on what flag you want to go for. I think I got this one for like $1 maybe. So they're really affordable. It's just kind of up to you, preference, how big you want your rod to be. So the next thing you're going to need are some different colored yarn. You can do just a single color yarn if you don't want to layer it. I have these two colors. It's just a nice cream color and a dark gray color. I think contrasting colors look really nice together, and I really like neutral colors, so I went with these two. You may also want twine to use as the string you hang it up with, but it's not really necessary. You can just use one of the yarns you bought for this step. I've done that before. Or do your flag where it doesn't even get hung up by anything. You just put 2 nails and put the dowel across it. Also need some scissors to cut everything with. I also recommend using a small hand saw to cut your dowel into whatever size you want. I just went downstairs and cut my dowel rod with my hand saw. As you can see, I cut one small part of the dowel rod and one larger part of the dowel rod. So I'm going to be making 2 flags today, obviously, one small one and one larger one. The smaller dowel rod I'm going to be making, I want to just do a single color. I think I'm going to do this dark gray. I think that would be really pretty. You have your small dowel rod, and this one I want to turn into a small, more angular dowel rod like the one I have hanging in my room, and I just want to make it a single color. So I'm going to take my gray yarn, and you're going to find the end of it. So once you have the yarn you want to use, you're going to want to figure out how long you want your flag to be. I want mine to be a smaller one, so I'm not going to add that much. I like to just drape it over the dowel rod to kind of get the full idea of the length. You're going to want to make it a little longer than you actually want the length to be, because we're going to have to knot the yarn around this rod for it to hold. So I think that's about how long I want it to be, plus a couple inches for my knot. And then I'm just going to start wrapping and making loops around my dowel rod. Down, then loop it around the back of the dowel rod. And I'm going to hold on to these pieces actually so that I make sure they're all the same length. So you can pull your yarn down, make your loop, make sure that your loop matches all the others you're holding, and then wrap it again. And you're going to want to do that about 10 times. So once you have 10 strings up here at the top of your dowel rod, that's when you're going to want to stop. With this last loop here. Alright, so now that I have 10 loops done, I'm going to set this all together and make sure that the loops look like they're about even lengths. Alright, so now that you have all of this yarn together, you're going to want to take your scissors and cut the string connecting it to the big ball of yarn. You're going to gather all your loops together and hold them taut and cut the bottoms just like that. So now you have this chunk of like cut hanging yarn, and what you're going to want to do is knot it through. So what you're going to want to do to knot it is take your yarn in half like it already is, pick pick up your dowel, lay the string over the dowel. I like to put my finger through it. And then I can reach through with my thumb and that finger to pull the yarn through. And that makes it a little knot so that you have something like that. You're just gonna wanna keep repeating that step over and over until you have your desired amount. I like to do an odd number with it so that there's a center one and then an equal number on each side. As it angles into a point, I think that that looks nicer and more symmetrical. So yeah, I'm just gonna repeat that step several times until this is full, and then I will show you what to do from there. So it is a little while later and I am happy with this. 7 was the number of like sets of 10 that I needed to make. So I made 7 sets of 10 and this is what it looks like. As you can see, the bottom is not perfect, but that's fine because in a minute we're gonna clean it up. But for the next step, before we cut it, I wanted to say now would be a good time if you plan on hanging it by a nail or something to get your twine or yarn or whatever you want to use and make the thing it'll hang by. What you need to do is go to the edge of where your yarn stops on one of the sides and tie a knot. Then I'm going to use that to go ahead and hang it up and cut the yarn while it's hanging. I just took my wall flag down that I had in the beginning of the video, and I'm going to use that hook on the wall. You're going to want to hang it up, pull out, and tighten kind of all your knots that you have. Make sure that everything is lined up, and then we'll fluff it out later so that it doesn't look quite as thin. You're going to want to decide how V'd or angled, I guess, you want your flag to be. Start by making the bottom of it more even and kind of going from there. Recommend touching your center at all because that should have been the length that you wanted from the beginning. So that is kind of our current finished product. It definitely looks like I angled it better in person, but yeah, that is how you make a small angled wall flag. This is the beginning of the next flag we're going to be working on. So I just took my larger dowel rod and repeated the same first step with cream string on this one. We're going to be making this one a different shape though. We're going to cut it straight across the bottom and cut the 2 edges up like little notches. And on this one I'm also going to teach you how to layer the colors. To go like the first 2 in and cut up. I'm gonna start like really little. Is what the flag currently looks like. I honestly think you could leave it like this, but for the sake of showing you how to layer the colors, I'm gonna go ahead and add more. I'm going to take my gray yarn, instead of doing what I have on the flag in my room and just doing like the same shape, I want to try to do some braided pieces. Measure out just like we would on our usual rod, the length, that I want. About that long. Since I'm gonna braid it, it'll get shorter as I braid. I want it to be a thicker braid too, so I'm gonna wrap that the typical 10 times like we've done for everything else. Wrapped it 10 times. We're gonna go ahead and cut it like we have all the others because it's essentially the same step as before. So you're gonna take your flag, you're gonna decide at what point you want this extra piece to be hanging down. So for me, I don't know, I'll start over here. I wanna start in past these two because I want it to be where it's longer, so I'll go to like the 5th one we've made. And on this one, I don't know if I mentioned, I put 20. I didn't want to do an odd number because I wanted it to be very symmetrical. It didn't need a point since it wasn't going to be angled. So to attach this, I'm going to do the same thing we did to attach our other pieces to our rod. You're going to fold it over, make this loop, pick your piece, and you're gonna have to go kind of angled since you can't go on top because it's not a rod, it's a string of yarn. So you're gonna loop it around and pull it through there. Be careful not to pull any of the actual like yarn bits through, and to slide it up as close to the top as you can because you want it to be good looking as possible. Gonna pull that piece down and you have your layered piece. So for this one, I wanted to braid it and then pull out the braid because I want it to be bigger. And that's what that looks like. To make just a couple more, I might do some regular hanging down pieces, some twists, not really sure. You can just kind of play around with this as you like, alternating the number of strings you've done for each piece to get different thicknesses. Like, you don't have to do 10 times around the dowel rod, you can do 5 if you want it to be a much smaller one. It's totally up to you. So this is what the finished flag looks like. I really like it. I think it would make a super awesome gift for somebody, a friend or a family member, and really fun to make. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It took me a really long time to film, and I'm really proud of all of the flags. I hope you found it instructional and helpful. They're super fun and quick to make. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and I will see you guys next week in another video. Bye!